Picture yourself standing in front of the mirror one morning, steam from your hot shower still lingering in the air. As you gaze at your reflection, you might notice subtle changes, perhaps a lingering fatigue in your eyes, or a yellowish tint to your skin that wasn't there before. These quiet signals, these gentle whispers from your body, could be telling you something important. Today, we're going to embark on a profound journey together, exploring the intricate ways our bodies communicate with us, particularly when it comes to one of humanity's most challenging health battles, cancer. I'm Dr. Sarah Mitchell, and over my 20 years of oncology practice at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, I've witnessed countless stories of triumph, heartbreak, and most importantly, the power of early detection. Join me as we delve deep into understanding 5 crucial body changes that could signal cancer. Not to instill fear, but to empower you with knowledge that could save your life or the life of someone you love. James Anderson never thought much about body odor until his wife, Marie, mentioned something peculiar one morning over breakfast. "Honey," she said, her voice tinged with concern, "you smell different lately, not bad, just different." Like many of us, James initially dismissed this observation, attributing it to a change in his diet or perhaps a new laundry detergent. But Marie's keen sense of smell had detected something that would ultimately save her husband's life. The human body is an intricate chemical factory, constantly producing and processing various compounds that create our unique personal scent. When cancer develops, it can dramatically alter this delicate chemical balance, leading to distinctive changes in body odor. Think of it as your body's own early warning system, sending out invisible but detectable signals that something isn't quite right. Dr. Rachel Wong, a leading researcher in metabolic disorders at Johns Hopkins University, explains it this way. Every cell in our body has its own metabolic signature, like a fingerprint made of molecules. When cancer cells multiply, they create their own unique chemical signatures, often resulting in subtle but distinctive changes in how a person smells. Let's explore these olfactory changes more deeply. Intestinal cancer and the acid-metal connection. When Sarah Thompson, a high school teacher from Portland, noticed a persistent metallic smell in her bathroom, she initially blamed her aging plumbing. However, this distinctive odor was actually coming from her own body, specifically her stool. Intestinal cancer can significantly alter the gut's bacterial balance, leading to the production of volatile organic compounds that create these characteristic acidic or metallic odors. The science behind this is fascinating. Healthy intestinal cells maintain a delicate balance of beneficial bacteria that help break down our food and maintain our health. When cancer cells develop in the intestinal tract, they disrupt this balance, leading to an overgrowth of certain bacteria that produce these distinctive smell signatures. Like Dr. Thompson discovered with Sarah's case, liver cancer presents its own unique olfactory signature. Think of walking through an orchard where overripe fruit has begun to ferment beneath the autumn sun. This is similar to the distinctive sweet yet musty smell that can emerge when liver cancer disrupts the body's natural detoxification processes. The liver, our body's primary filtration system, typically processes and eliminates various compounds that could produce strong odors. When cancer interferes with this vital function, these compounds begin to accumulate, leading to noticeable changes in both breath and body odor. Lisa Martinez, a 37-year-old accountant from Chicago, recalls the moment she first noticed something was amiss. "I kept smelling ammonia, like strong cleaning products," she shares, her voice still carrying a trace of the anxiety she felt during those uncertain days. "At first, I thought it was just the new office cleaning service, but then I realized the smell followed me home. It was actually coming from my own sweat." The connection between liver cancer and these distinctive odors lies in the organ's compromised ability to break down proteins properly. Dr. Michael Chen, head of hepatology at Stanford Medical Center, explains, when the liver's function is impaired by cancer, proteins aren't metabolized correctly. This leads to an accumulation of ammonia in the blood, which is then released through sweat and breath. It's actually an ancient diagnostic tool. Traditional Chinese medicine practitioners have been using breath odor as a diagnostic indicator for liver issues for thousands of years. But perhaps one of the most striking examples of how cancer can alter body odor comes from the world of medical detection dogs. At the Penn Vet Working Dog Center in Philadelphia, researchers have been training dogs to detect the unique scent signatures of various cancers. These remarkable animals can identify lung cancer with an accuracy rate that often exceeds 95%, demonstrating just how distinct these olfactory changes can be. Speaking of lung cancer, its scent signature is particularly unique. Former smoker Robert Wilson describes it as a sharp chemical smell, almost like burning plastic. This description aligns with scientific findings showing that lung cancer cells emit specific volatile organic compounds, VOCs, that create distinctive odor profiles. These VOCs are so specific that researchers at the Cleveland Clinic are developing electronic nose devices that can detect them in a patient's breath, potentially revolutionizing early detection methods. Dr. Jennifer Patel, lead researcher on the Cleveland Clinic's Electronic Nose Project, shares an insight that captures the imagination. Every breath we exhale contains thousands of molecules that tell a story about what's happening inside our bodies. It's like each person is constantly broadcasting a chemical autobiography. When cancer develops, it's like a new chapter being written in that story, one with its own unique chemical signature. The story of Mary Sullivan, a 54-year-old elementary school teacher from Boston, particularly illustrates the importance of paying attention to these olfactory changes. Mary had always prided herself on her acute sense of smell, a trait that made her particularly good at detecting when her students were trying to sneak candy into class. But when she began noticing a persistent metallic taste and smell, even her morning coffee started to taste like copper pennies. It was the strangest thing, Mary recalls, running her fingers through her silver-streaked hair. Everything tasted like I was drinking from a metal cup. My husband thought I was imagining things, but something in my gut told me this wasn't normal. Her intuition proved correct. The metallic taste and smell were early signs of leukemia, a blood cancer that can cause significant changes in how things taste and smell due to its effects on blood chemistry. Dr. Sarah Mitchell interjects here with a crucial observation. What makes these olfactory changes particularly valuable as warning signs is that they often appear before other, more obvious symptoms. It's as if your body is trying to wave a flag and get your attention through your nose before the problem becomes more serious. The science behind this early warning system is fascinating. Cancer cells have a different metabolic process than normal cells. They consume glucose at a much higher rate and produce waste products through different pathways. This altered metabolism results in the production of specific compounds that, when released through breath, sweat, or other bodily processes, create distinct odor profiles. In the case of oral cancer, these changes can be particularly noticeable. David Cooper, a 62-year-old retired firefighter from Seattle, describes his experience. I developed this persistent bad breath that no amount of brushing or mouthwash could eliminate. It wasn't like normal bad breath. It was different, almost sickly sweet with an underlying rot. This distinctive odor was caused by the presence of oral cancer cells breaking down local tissue, creating volatile compounds with characteristic smells. Dr. Rebecca Chang, head of oral oncology at MD Anderson Cancer Center, explains why these changes occur. Cancer cells essentially hijack normal cellular processes, leading to the production of different metabolic byproducts. In oral cancer, these changes are happening right in the mouth cavity, where we're naturally very sensitive to smell and taste changes. It's like having an early detection system built right into our everyday experience of eating and breathing. The implications of these olfactory changes extend beyond just physical symptoms. They can have profound psychological impacts as well. Many patients report feeling isolated or self-conscious about these changes before getting a diagnosis. Support groups have emerged specifically for individuals dealing with cancer-related body odor changes, providing both emotional support and practical advice for managing these symptoms. Sarah Chen, a social worker specializing in oncology support at Memorial Sloan Kettering, emphasizes the importance of addressing these psychological aspects. Changes in body odor can be incredibly distressing for patients, often affecting their social interactions and self-esteem even before they receive a diagnosis. It's crucial that we acknowledge and support patients through these changes, helping them understand that these symptoms are not their fault and are actually important signals from their body. As we conclude this exploration of how cancer can affect body odor, it's important to remember that not all changes in body odor indicate cancer, and not all cancers produce noticeable odor changes. However, persistent, unexplained changes in body odor, particularly when accompanied by other symptoms, should always be evaluated by a healthcare provider. Dr. Mitchell offers this practical advice. Keep a journal of any unusual changes you notice in your body's smell, including when they occur, and any other symptoms you might be experiencing. This information can be invaluable to your healthcare provider in determining whether further investigation is warranted. The human body is remarkably precise in maintaining its weight, operating like a finely tuned scale that typically doesn't shift dramatically without reason. That's why Patricia Rodriguez's experience struck such a chord with her medical team. At 48, this vibrant Denver restaurant owner had always maintained a healthy relationship with food. After all, creating and tasting delicious dishes was both her passion and profession. But over the course of 3 months, she lost 37 pounds without changing her diet or exercise routine. At first, people complimented me, Patricia remembers, her dark eyes reflecting the complexity of emotions from that time. They'd ask about my diet secret and I'd laugh it off, but deep down I knew something wasn't right. How could I be losing weight while still taste testing every new dish in my restaurant? Dr. Mitchell explains that unexplained weight loss, typically defined as dropping more than 5% of your body weight within 6 to 12 months without trying, is one of the most common early warning signs of cancer. Think of your body as a car engine, she suggests. When cancer is present, it's like having an engine that's suddenly running too hot, burning through fuel much faster than normal, even when the car is just idling. The mechanism behind this weight loss is fascinating and complex. Dr. Richard Thompson, head of metabolic research at Mayo Clinic, describes it this way. Cancer cells are like tiny factories operating at full capacity 24/7. They consume enormous amounts of energy, often reprogramming the body's entire metabolic system to feed their insatiable appetite for nutrients. This can lead to weight loss, even when a person is eating normally, or even more than usual. Take the case of Michael Brandon, a 35-year-old construction worker from Atlanta. Despite maintaining his hearty appetite and continuing his physically demanding job, he noticed his work clothes becoming increasingly loose. I was eating like a horse, 3 full plates at dinner sometimes, but still dropping weight like I was running marathons every day, he recalls, gesturing to emphasize the disparity. My wife started packing extra lunches, but nothing seemed to help. That's when we knew something was seriously wrong. The weight loss Michael experienced was a result of pancreatic cancer, a type that's particularly notorious for causing dramatic weight loss early in its development. Dr. Emily Chen, oncologist at Johns Hopkins, explains why. The pancreas plays a crucial role in digestion and metabolism. When cancer affects this organ, it can disrupt the body's ability to process nutrients effectively, leading to a state called cancer cachexia. Cancer cachexia is a complex metabolic syndrome that goes beyond simple weight loss. Think of it as your body's metabolism being hijacked, muscles begin to break down, fat stores are depleted, and even increasing caloric intake often can't reverse the process. It's as if your body has forgotten how to properly use the fuel you're giving it. Susan Blake, a nutritionist specializing in oncology patients at Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, shares her perspective. What makes cancer-related weight loss particularly insidious is that it's often accompanied by a change in body composition. Patients don't just lose fat, they lose muscle mass as well, which can significantly impact their strength and energy levels. This was exactly what happened to Tom Richardson, a 59-year-old high school football coach from Texas. "I'd always been a big guy," he says, his voice carrying the weight of his experience. 220 pounds of mostly muscle, from years of working out. "When I dropped to 180 in just 4 months, my players started noticing. One of my linebackers actually pulled me aside after practice to ask if everything was okay." Tom's weight loss was an early sign of esophageal cancer, a type that can make eating difficult and contribute to rapid weight loss. But even before he experienced any difficulty swallowing, his body was already sounding the alarm through this unexpected weight change. The psychological impact of unexplained weight loss can be particularly challenging. While our society often celebrates weight loss, experiencing it without effort or intention can be deeply unsettling. Dr. Sarah Cohen, a psycho-oncologist at Memorial Sloan Kettering, explains, "Many patients describe feeling betrayed by their bodies. They can see and feel themselves becoming smaller, weaker, but feel powerless to stop it. This loss of control can be incredibly distressing." Linda Morrison, a 52-year-old librarian from Seattle, describes her experience with unexpected weight loss. "I had always struggled to lose weight, trying every diet under the sun. Then suddenly, the pounds started melting away effortlessly. Instead of feeling happy, I felt terrified. It was like watching myself disappear a little bit each day." The impact of cancer-related weight loss extends beyond physical appearance. Dr. Mitchell emphasizes that significant weight loss can affect everything from energy levels to immune function. When the body loses weight rapidly, especially muscle mass, it becomes harder to fight off infections, recover from injuries, or even maintain normal daily activities. It's like trying to run a marathon when you haven't eaten properly for weeks. Healthcare providers are particularly concerned about unexplained weight loss because it can be an early warning sign for several types of cancer, including pancreatic cancer, which can disrupt digestive enzyme production; stomach cancer, affecting nutrient absorption and appetite; lung cancer, which can increase metabolic rate significantly; lymphomas, which can alter metabolism throughout the body; esophageal cancer, making eating physically challenging. Dr. James Wilson, Director of Oncology at Vanderbilt University Medical Center, shares a crucial insight. What makes weight loss such an important warning sign is that it often appears before other, more specific symptoms. It's like your body is raising a red flag, telling you something is wrong before the problem becomes more obvious in other ways. For anyone experiencing unexplained weight loss, Dr. Mitchell recommends keeping a detailed record. Document your weight changes, what you're eating, and any other symptoms you notice. This information can be invaluable in helping your healthcare provider determine the cause and appropriate next steps. The story of Rachel Thompson, a 43-year-old pharmaceutical sales representative from Minneapolis, illustrates the importance of taking unexplained weight loss seriously. "I lost 17 pounds in 2 months while eating normally. My friends were jealous, telling me how lucky I was, but my doctor listened to my concerns and ordered tests that caught my lymphoma early. That weight loss saved my life by getting me to the doctor when I did." In the bustling emergency department of Massachusetts General Hospital, nurse Amanda Chen knew what exhaustion felt like. After 12 years of working night shifts, she was intimately familiar with the bone-deep weariness that came from long hours on her feet. But this was different. This was a fatigue that sleep couldn't touch, a heaviness that seemed to seep into every cell of her body. "I remember standing at the nurse's station one night, trying to focus on a patient's chart," Amanda recalls, her voice soft with the memory. "The words kept swimming before my eyes, and I felt like I was moving through molasses. That's when one of the attending physicians pulled me aside and said, 'Amanda, this isn't just tiredness. We need to get you checked out.'" Dr. Mitchell explains that cancer-related fatigue is fundamentally different from normal tiredness. Imagine your body's energy system as a battery. With normal fatigue, sleep and rest recharge that battery. But with cancer-related fatigue, it's as if the battery can't hold a charge anymore. No amount of rest seems to restore your energy levels. The science behind this devastating exhaustion is complex and multifaceted. Dr. Robert Patel, director of the Fatigue Research Center at Duke University Medical Center, elaborates, cancer cells are extremely demanding on the body's resources. They're like energy vampires, constantly draining your system's reserves. Additionally, the body's immune response to cancer can trigger the release of cytokines, inflammatory molecules that can cause profound fatigue. Take the case of Marcus Johnson, a 32-year-old software engineer from Seattle. An avid rock climber who typically spent weekends scaling the faces of Mount Rainier, Marcus noticed something was wrong when even walking up a flight of stairs left him winded and exhausted. It was like someone had replaced my muscles with lead, he describes, gesturing to demonstrate the weight he felt. I went from being able to do one-arm pull-ups to struggling to lift my laptop. The fatigue Marcus experienced was one of the first signs of his lymphoma, a cancer of the immune system. Dr. Sarah Anderson, his oncologist at Seattle Cancer Care Alliance, explains why this type of cancer often manifests first as extreme fatigue. Lymphoma affects the very cells responsible for fighting disease and maintaining energy levels. When these cells become cancerous, it's like having an army where the soldiers are not only failing to protect you, but are actively draining your resources. The impact of cancer-related fatigue extends far beyond physical exhaustion. Dr. Jennifer Wong, a neuropsychologist specializing in cancer-related cognitive changes at Sloan Kettering, describes what many patients call chemo brain, even before treatment begins. The fatigue affects every aspect of cognitive function: memory, concentration, decision-making ability. Patients often describe it as trying to think through fog or cotton wool. This was exactly what Catherine Martinez, a 47-year-old high school principal from Chicago, experienced. I prided myself on knowing every student's name, every teacher's schedule, she says, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. But suddenly I was forgetting basic things, meetings I'd scheduled, conversations I'd had just hours before. It was terrifying, like my mind was slowly slipping away from me. The fatigue Catherine experienced was an early warning sign of brain cancer, but similar levels of exhaustion can appear with many different types of cancer. Dr. Mitchell emphasizes that this is because cancer-related fatigue often has multiple causes, direct effects of the cancer cells consuming energy too, immune system activation and inflammation, hormonal changes caused by the tumor 4, emotional stress and anxiety 5, disrupted sleep patterns 6, nutritional deficiencies as the cancer affects metabolism. Dr. Elizabeth Barnes, a sleep specialist at Cleveland Clinic's Cancer Center, explains how cancer can disrupt the body's natural rhythms. Even before diagnosis, many cancer patients experience significant changes in their sleep-wake cycles. The cancer can affect the production of melatonin and other hormones that regulate sleep, creating a vicious cycle where fatigue builds upon fatigue. This was the experience of Thomas Wright, a 58-year-old truck driver from Memphis. I'd been driving routes for 30 years, knew exactly how to manage my sleep schedule, he shares, his voice gravelly with emotion. But suddenly I could sleep for 12 hours and still feel like I hadn't closed my eyes. It was like being awake and asleep at the same time, if that makes any sense. The fatigue Thomas experienced was related to lung cancer, which can cause exhaustion through multiple mechanisms. Dr. James Chen, a pulmonary oncologist at MD Anderson, explains, when cancer affects the lungs, it can reduce oxygen levels in the blood, leading to fatigue at a cellular level. It's like trying to run a car engine with a clogged air filter. Everything has to work harder, just to maintain basic functions. The psychological impact of persistent fatigue can be devastating. Dr. Rachel Goldman, a psycho-oncologist at Yale Cancer Center, describes the emotional toll. Many patients experience deep frustration and even depression as they struggle with this overwhelming exhaustion. It affects their ability to work, to maintain relationships, to engage in activities they love. It's a loss of self that occurs even before they receive a cancer diagnosis. This was particularly challenging for Sarah O'Connor, a 39-year-old professional dancer from San Francisco. "Dance was my life, my identity," she says, her expressive hands moving to illustrate her words. "When the fatigue hit, it was like watching my passion slip away in slow motion. I couldn't understand why. My body, which had always been so strong and responsive, was suddenly betraying me." The fatigue Sarah experienced was one of the first signs of her ovarian cancer, a type that often presents with vague symptoms that can be easily dismissed. Dr. Mitchell stresses the importance of paying attention to this kind of dramatic change, energy levels. When someone goes from being highly active to struggling with basic daily activities, that's a red flag that requires medical attention. For healthcare providers, assessing cancer-related fatigue can be challenging because it's such a subjective experience. Dr. Michael Ross, an oncologist at Johns Hopkins, describes their approach. "We often use standardized fatigue scales and detailed symptom diaries to help quantify the level of exhaustion patients are experiencing. But equally important is listening to their stories, how the fatigue is affecting their daily lives, their relationships, their sense of self." Dr. Mitchell often tells her students that the skin is like a window into the body's internal condition, a living canvas that can reveal hidden battles taking place beneath its surface. For Rebecca Martinez, a 34-year-old photography teacher from Austin, this metaphor became startlingly real when she noticed her skin taking on a yellowish tinge, as if someone had adjusted the color balance in one of her photos. "I first noticed it in my eyes," Rebecca recalls, unconsciously touching the corner of her eye as she speaks. "The whites weren't quite white anymore. They had this subtle yellow cast that I initially blamed on poor lighting or maybe too much screen time. But when my students started asking if I was feeling okay, I knew something was different." Dr. James Wong, head of hepatology at Stanford Medical Center, explains that this yellowing, known as jaundice, occurs when bilirubin, a yellow-orange pigment produced during the normal breakdown of red blood cells, builds up in the body. "Think of your liver as nature's most sophisticated recycling plant," he suggests. When cancer interferes with its function, this recycling process gets backed up, and bilirubin spills into the bloodstream, causing the characteristic yellowing of skin and eyes. The progression of jaundice often follows a predictable pattern, as Dr. Emily Chen, a gastroenterologist at Mayo Clinic, describes. It typically appears first in the sclera, the whites of the eyes, because the tissue is so thin and transparent. From there, it gradually becomes visible in the skin, often starting around the face and chest before spreading to other areas. It's like watching watercolor paint slowly seep across paper. For Michael Thompson, a 56-year-old construction foreman from Philadelphia, the change was so gradual he might have missed it, if not for his 7-year-old granddaughter. "We were FaceTiming one evening when she asked why I looked like Homer Simpson," he says with a wry smile that doesn't quite reach his eyes. "Kids don't filter things, you know. That's what made me really look at myself in the mirror." The jaundice Michael experienced was a sign of pancreatic cancer, which can obstruct the bile duct and prevent bilirubin from being properly processed. Dr. Sarah Anderson, an oncologist specializing in pancreatic cancer at Memorial Sloan Kettering, explains, "The pancreas sits deep in the abdomen, making early detection challenging. Skin changes like jaundice are often one of the first visible signs that something's wrong. It's like the body finding a way to wave a yellow flag when internal systems are in distress. But jaundice isn't the only skin change that can signal cancer." Dr. Rachel Cohen, a dermatologic oncologist at MD Anderson Cancer Center, describes the varied ways cancer can manifest in skin changes. Cancer can affect the skin both directly and indirectly. Sometimes it's through hormonal changes that cause hyperpigmentation, dark patches appearing on the skin. Other times it might present as unusual flushing, extreme paleness, or skin that feels different to the touch. Lisa Chen, a 43-year-old corporate lawyer from Seattle, experienced this firsthand when she noticed dark patches appearing on her neck and underarms. At first, I thought it was just sun damage, or maybe a reaction to a new laundry detergent, she says, absently running her fingers along her collarbone where the discoloration first appeared. But these patches were different, darker, more uniform, and they appeared in areas that rarely saw sun. The hyperpigmentation Lisa experienced was a paraneoplastic syndrome, a condition caused by cancer but occurring away from the primary tumor site. Dr. Mitchell explains, some cancers can trigger the overproduction of melanin, the pigment that gives skin its color, even when the cancer itself is located in a completely different part of the body. It's like the cancer sending ripples through the body's systems that eventually show up on the skin. Dr. Jennifer Park, an endocrinologist at Cleveland Clinic, adds another dimension to understanding these skin changes. The skin is our largest organ and one of our most sensitive indicators of internal health. When cancer disrupts normal hormone production, it can cause everything from changes in texture and moisture levels to alterations in pigmentation. It's like reading a map, where different types of terrain represent different internal conditions. The psychological impact of visible skin changes can be particularly challenging for patients. Dr. Thomas Brown, a psycho-oncologist at Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, explains, unlike fatigue or weight loss, skin changes are immediately visible to others. This can make patients feel marked or stigmatized, affecting their social interactions and self-image, even before they receive a diagnosis. This was the experience of Maria Rodriguez, a 29-year-old elementary school teacher from Miami. Teaching first grade means being the center of attention, she shares, her voice catching slightly. When my skin started changing, becoming almost gray and dry despite my usual skincare routine, my students noticed immediately. One little girl even brought me her favorite moisturizer from home. Their concern was touching, but it also made the changes impossible to ignore. The skin changes Maria experienced were related to lung cancer, which can affect skin color and texture through multiple mechanisms. Dr. Robert Chang, a pulmonary oncologist at Yale Cancer Center, explains, when cancer affects oxygen absorption in the lungs, it can lead to a characteristic grayish or bluish tint to the skin called cyanosis. Additionally, some lung cancers produce hormone-like substances that can cause dramatic changes in skin texture and appearance. Even subtle skin changes can provide important diagnostic clues. Dr. Elizabeth Warren, a surgical oncologist at Johns Hopkins, describes, we often see changes in skin texture, areas becoming unusually smooth or rough, unexplained rashes that don't respond to normal treatment, or changes in how the skin feels to the touch. These changes might seem minor, but they're like pieces of a puzzle that help us understand what's happening inside the body.